Hello everybody, Flappy here, and welcome to another video on my channel. If you're new here, I bid you a warm welcome to my channel, and if you're not new here, I'm amazed you remember I exist since I haven't uploaded in quite some time. But I felt like revitalizing my channel and reviving myself to discuss a topic I am very excited to discuss and passionate about, and that topic is the Game Awards. Every year, Jeff Keighley himself comes down from the heavens to give us some of the worst advertisements in gaming, some of the most annoying 4 hours you can sit through, but some of the greatest awards for the greatest games released of the year. Now, I know there are lots of critiques of the Game Awards, their advertisements, the constant product placement, the, quite frankly, irrelevant celebrities they pull on that really have nothing to do with gaming, but at the end of the day, I love the Game Awards as they celebrate a hobby I have been doing my entire life, and I love playing all the new releases. Now, this video will not be going over every single category and nomination. That would take just too long, and I honestly have not played enough of the nominated games in each category to have a really good opinion on them. I've only played 2 of the Game of the Year nominees this year compared to every single one last year. So I'm not the best to give my opinions on these games aside from Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3. Those are the 2 that I've played, but I am still going to cover major nominees that may be missing, and overall what I think and predict will happen. So I'm first just going to cover the topic of Game of the Year. Game of the Year nominees this year are honestly quite surprising. Some not, but some are. The biggest surprise to me was the lack of Starfield and Hogwarts Legacy in any of the nominations, really. I believe the only thing Starfield got nominated for, and I may be incorrect on this, but I believe it only got nominated for the Best RPG, which, again, was honestly really surprising, and I'm actually going to double check my information to make sure I'm right. I believe that's all it got nominated for, and I was indeed correct. Starfield is only nominated for Best RPG, and Hogwarts Legacy isn't even here. It's not here. Now, I can't say I'm too upset about either of these games missing. I didn't play either of these games. I have people around me that played them, told me what they thought about them. I don't really have too many strong opinions on either of the games, so I'm not very upset to see them missing. It was just a bit of a surprise, especially considering that usually the big Bethesda games at least get a nomination, sometimes for Game of the Year, but they didn't even get a nomination for that this year, which continues Bethesda's dry spell in any Game of the Year awards. I mean, they have not won a single one, which probably really blows for Bethesda executives to see after putting so much time into Starfield and so much money to hype the game up. But at the end of the day, it was not enough for Bethesda to earn a nomination for Game of the Year, which, damn, that's tough, Bethesda. But now I'm going to talk about the 2 biggest contenders for Game of the Year in my opinion. I believe the 2 primary contenders for what will take home the majority of awards will either be Tears of the Kingdom or Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I'm not just saying this because these are the only 2 I played, but out of every game nominated, these 2 games have received the most unanimous praise, the most unanimous love. I mean, these games were massive when they released. Baldur's Gate 3 took the internet by storm. I remember seeing these stories that IGN was posting talking about you could have sex with a bear, and that is what made me go, what in the world is this Baldur's Gate game? And then I ended up getting it, and I played it, and my goodness, that game was a lovely game to play. It was honestly a joy. I loved it. I'm a huge D&D fan. I have a group I've been playing with, and so being able to play D&D online with that group was quite an enjoyable experience. And I think it's a pretty good sign when someone like me, who's been playing video games for so long and is very critical of the games he plays, honestly has nothing too bad to say about Baldur's Gate. I thought the story, the characters, everything was so well written. The graphics were gorgeous. I don't have the most expensive computer. it is worth a decent amount, but it was able to run it perfectly, and I really, really did love every second I played of Baldur's Gate. But I think that biggest competitor, Tears of the Kingdom, has a very, very good shot at taking over and winning Game of the Year. I'm honestly a bit biased towards Tears of the Kingdom, as Breath of the Wild was my favorite game of all time until, good old Elden Ring came around and dethroned the king from his castle. I absolutely adore Tears of the Kingdom. In fact, I have quite a few more hours in it than I do Baldur's Gate. I think I have just around 90 hours in Tears of the Kingdom compared to my, I believe, 25 or so in Baldur's Gate. So it is a big difference in hours, but that just kind of shows how much it made me hooked and how much I enjoyed it. I loved Tears of the Kingdom. A lot of people had a lot of critiques of it, saying it's just the same map. They just ripped off, Elden Ring with the caves, all this. Now, as a massive Elden Ring fan, someone who has beaten it 4 times, and absolutely loves that game, they did not rip it off, because Tears of the Kingdom does something a little more unique with the caves, I would say, but in their own way. Elden Ring's caves were basically just mini little dungeons. They are kind of repetitive, and that's probably the only critique I really have for that game, to be honest. But in terms of Tears of the Kingdom's caves, each one is well thought out, and each one seems, at the very least, pretty designed to its area. They don't feel like copy-paste little dungeons to go and explore. I really do feel like Tears of the Kingdom's old caves are pretty nice and fun to go around in. And, you get your little bubble gem. And then, of course, there are the depths. Sorry, minor spoiler alert. The depths are a blast and also a pain in the ass to explore. But I loved my experience with Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't even beaten it after 90 hours, which to me is a beautiful sign. It took me about 70 hours to complete my first playthrough of Elden Ring, so when I can spend this much time in a world and not even complete the game, to me, that is a beautifully, beautifully crafted world. And I believe Tears of the Kingdom should win, at the very least, Best Game Direction, but again, the same with Baldur's Gate. They are both superb games, and I would not be upset if Baldur's Gate took home Game of the Year or Best Game Direction. I really do love both these games. Now, going on to the other subjects, I'm going to quickly touch on a couple other categories that I have a piqued interest in, but not too many of these categories really stuck out to me. Not a lot of these games really stuck out to me, as I just didn't play them due to time, money, and just an overall, I would say, disinterest in this year's games. But that's alright. Not every year needs to be 2022 and have, some of the greatest games I've ever seen released. Elden Ring, God of War. Apologies, friends. I wanted to quickly touch on Best Action Game. Now, the nominees for this are honestly a little more diversified than I thought it would be. It was definitely an interesting thing to see the Best Action Game, as there are a game or two that I honestly did not expect to be in the Best Action Game, but that's alright. I kind of like a surprise when it comes to the Game Awards. Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2, and Armored Core 6 were all nominated, and the big surprises to me were Remnant 2 and Dead Island 2. I really didn't think Dead Island 2 would get any recognition at the Game Awards, as it had a pretty rough launch, and reviews for it were, I would say, in the mediocre to alright side, but people seem to really like it, and I'm surprised it made its way on here. Now, my personal vote has to go to my favorite studio, complete bias of mine, From Software. Armored Core 6 is phenomenal. I did not play any of the other games on that list. I know it's just complete bias and opinion, but I truly felt like Armored Core was an amazing experience. It was my first kind of mecha game and my first Armored Core game, and once again, From Software did not fail to disappoint me with their game creation and their game design. It wasn't even directed by Miyazaki, my favorite horrible, horrible human being, but I absolutely adored Armored Core 6. Honestly, these are the only categories I really wanted to focus on, as I just wanted to discuss the games I played, the games I enjoyed. The other categories, I again, don't have too much interest in. I will be watching them. I do have predictions about them, but that could be for a whole separate video. I don't think I need to go over every prediction, but to sort of sum up the video, I do believe the big two contenders are going to be Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate. Maybe we'll see a sweep like we did with Elden Ring and God of War, where God of War kind of came in, swept like all these awards, and then Elden Ring at the very end was like, oh wait, but we got Best Game Direction and Game of the Year, and then Elden Ring sort of took it back. Last year's Game Awards was an absolute blast, and I really hope it's going to be the same with these two Goliaths of storytelling, design, exploration. I mean, seriously, Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom, hands down, my top 2 games of the year, but at the end of the day, I have to give it to Tears of the Kingdom, and I truly hope they win. But we will find all that out on December 5th, and I think I've run out of words to say. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you. I really do appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you discovering this channel, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to me speak. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like, a subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you think these Game Awards are going to go, how you feel about the different nominees. I'm interested to hear other people's opinions, and I love talking to other people. So, that is going to do it for today's video, but I will be back sometime in the future. But until then, this is Flappy signing off, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Goodbye, everybody.